Alright, so this video is going to look at how to insert a table into your report so that it matches exactly the style guide. We'll also too after that look at how to write your recommendations, what a recommendation is, and how to begin your recommendation paragraph or your section on recommendations. So as part of task 3, the report, we need to do an item comparison. This is going to take the form of a table. So if I just scroll down, I haven't inserted anything else in this document yet. So in the item comparison section, we need to make sure that our font is on normal, and we've got our font on normal to start off with. And we're going to look at the folio and just get a bit of a breakdown of what we're actually going to insert into this table. Folio. Okay, just a bit of a breakdown of what we're actually going to insert so that we get a rough idea of how big this table needs to be before we go inserting a table. Scroll down, there we go. So, we need a table comparing the following items. A basic computer chair blue and adjustable height desks. So I'm going to do two tables. I'm going to do two tables, one for the chair and one for the adjustable height desk. Each comparison should include the name of the item description, unit price, any discounts for purchase of multiple items, and URL of website where item is found. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 different columns or categories for our table. So I know that my table is going to have 5 columns. Okay, 5 columns. In terms of rows, I need 1 row for the heading, and then I'm comparing 2, okay, because we're comparing screen captures of 2 websites selected for comparison. So we're comparing the blue chairs and the adjustable height desks of 2 different websites. So I need 2 rows for each item. So that means a total of 3 rows. Always best to, particularly if you're not sure of how many columns or rows that you need, when inserting a table, always put too many rows and too many columns. It's always easier to delete rows and delete columns than to try and add in extra. So my tip there is to always add too many, because it's much easier to delete rather than to add. So let's insert our tables, or insert one table. I'm only going to insert, while I'm going to do 2 tables, I'm only going to insert 1 to start off with. I'm going to do the formatting on 1 table first, and then copy and paste that table. So rather than doing double formatting, just insert 1 table. That's going to be 3 rows and 5 columns, 5 by 3. 5 by 3. And then once this is formatted correctly, I can just simply copy and paste it below, once it's formatted correctly. So I don't want that there just yet. Alright, before we start looking at the style guide, first things first, I'm going to add the names of each of our headings. Add the names of each of our headings. So first one, name, the word name, item description, item description, unit price, discounts, and then URL or web address, website. I'm just going to call it website. With the headings in, we're going to go to the style guide now and review. There's an entire section within the style guide on tables, section 5. So we're going to review this section and ensure that each of these points is adhered to, and our formatting reflects this. So starting at number 5.1, table borders to be black, 1 point thickness. 1 point, not entirely sure how the measurement of actual points goes, but 1 point is just a unit of measurement and dictates the thickness of the lines in our table. So to have a look at the thickness of our lines, I'll click on the table, ensure that we've clicked on the table, and our table tools will appear. Our table tools. You've got design and layout. Within design, there's a draw borders section. So you can see here that we've clicked on the table, it's telling us that our thickness of our lines, our line weight, is only at a half a point. It's at 1/2 a point. So we need to change that to a whole 1 point. Okay. And once you do that, you'll get the draw table. It'll automatically select draw table, and you can draw the lines on like that. You should see that they increase in thickness. Yeah. If I zoom in, you can see that there's been an increase in thickness there now. Once I zoom in, I'll zoom right in. Okay, so if I do that, you can see that they increase in thickness. When you zoom back, or when you zoom out, you might not see a difference in thickness. Okay, however, it is there and it is present, so we need to make sure that we adhere to this. So you can draw all of the lines on. You can draw them all, or as I zoom out a bit, or you can select the thickness of 1 point, select your entire table, and then use the borders settings here, and click all borders, and it will change it to 1 point because that's what you have it set at. Okay. You can see that the thickness of those has now changed, and they are all the same thickness. You can see there that it doesn't. They kind of look like they're different thicknesses. I believe that's just because of the zoom ratio. So if I zoom out even further, then now it'll look the same as before. All right, but just please ensure that you're following the style guide and that we are adhering to the right thickness. So I'll cross that one out now that we finished it. 5.2, column headings to be aligned left and bold, Arial or Arial narrow, no smaller than size 12. So this relates to our column headings. Okay, bold and left aligned, so they are left aligned. Bold, Arial or Arial narrow, no smaller than size 12. The Arial narrow, just for the sake of it, I'm going to change them to Arial. And they have to be left aligned. Now you can change your alignment just in the paragraph tools. However, what I prefer to do when I'm using a table is to go into the layout section or the layout ribbon. And there's a whole section here on alignment. Within our cells we can align not only horizontally, okay, which is left, center and right, but we can also align vertically, okay, up and down. All right, vertically up and down. When I'm using tables, I always align to the center vertically. Okay, it just looks much neater. Looks much neater within the actual table. There we go. All right. So now that one's done, cross that out, and look at the next one. Header rows and columns to be filled with logo pale blue R137G192B229. So this heading row must be filled with the colour logo pale blue. Select the colour, the shading drop down, go to more colours. Once I'm in more colours, go to custom, and I just simply type in the numbers which represent green, red and blue. 137, green, 192 and blue 229. And then you see it selects that nice pale blue colour and then shade in that top row. Something you can do to easily or to try and easily make all your columns and your rows the same, if you select the entire table, particularly by and right clicking, you'll get the distribute rows evenly and distribute columns evenly. This changes your rows and your columns to be a nice even distribution. With this headings here, it's not very even because we've got item description on two lines. So to change that, I'm going to pull to the right this line here, making the unit price too far. Making the unit price a little bit smaller, and then I'm going to pull back to the left and make name just a touch smaller. That keeps it all on the same, that keeps it nice and neat. So just by increasing that column a little bit, it's still nice and neat, it's still nice and consistent. I would not want to see too many changes like that. Something you can also do down here, because unit price discounted website are all different sizes, you can actually highlight those three, right click, and then click distribute columns evenly. And so now those three columns are all the same width now. So just to keep it consistent. Alright, so with that change in shade done, cross that out. Arial font size 10 should be used other than for headings. So to ensure this, I'm just going to, because I'm not going to insert any information just yet, I'm just going to put the word test in each of these, in each spot. This way I've got some text that I can change the font for, and this way it'll ensure that every single cell in my table is formatted correctly. So Arial font size 10 should be used other than headings. So I'll highlight these because these aren't headings and change them to Arial size 10. Just nice and easy there. Cross that one out because that's done. Alright, next one. Text within the body of the cells to be aligned left. It is currently aligned to the left, that's fine. That's an easy one. I'll leave the numbers one for just a moment. I'll leave the numbers one for just a moment. I'll come down to this very last one here, 5.7. Make sure you don't miss this one. Vertical alignment within rows is to be centered. Centered. So I spoke on the vertical alignment before, so just checking that our text, all of our text underneath the headings, it's vertically aligned to the top left. So it is aligned to the top vertically, not to the center. So we need to change that one. I know it's only a small minor change, but you'll see the difference when the cells, if we increase the rows. Notice how the headings here, which have already been vertically aligned to the center, they sit perfectly in the center. These, however, are sitting up in the top corner. In terms of our use of space, it's inconsistent and it's not even. So you want to make sure that it is even within each of these cells. And then put that, so that's how it should look. When changing your vertical alignment, you may have an issue if your text, if the text you're aligning has a before or after point. If the text has an after point, it will not center correctly. And when I highlight the text, notice how when I highlight it, the blue, the highlighted blue that appears, not only covers the text, but also a portion underneath. This is the after point, which in our paragraph settings, okay, is set here. If I remove this after point, notice how the highlighted section, that extra highlighted section, disappears, and it is just the text which is highlighted. Okay. Both of these lines of text here are centered to the left and vertically. They're centered vertically and to the left. However, they both do not sit in the dead center of the cell because this top row here has the after points of space after. So you need to make sure that these are removed. The same thing can occur if you have points before. Notice that it pushes down and that you have a section of blue above. Or if, I'll just change it back to show that it's gone back to normal, or if the line spacing, okay, if there's an increase in the line spacing. So ensure that, so this way, if I go to double, you'll see that it increases again. So ensure always that with your paragraph formatting, depending on what you're doing, okay, but most of our, particularly for this subject, we're always going to be using 0 before and after and single lines. Alright, with the vertical alignment completed, I'll cross that out. So the numbers now, there are numbers going within our text because we will need to put in a unit price. So I'm just going to edit these test figures and just put in some zeros with a dollar sign to show that we're going to be using a numeric value here, and it is a price, so we will need to use the dollar sign. Numbers within the body cells to be aligned right. So we need to change the alignment of just these two cells to the right. So anything that is numeric, okay, any numbers need to be aligned to the right. So I'll cross that out because I've done that. All figures are to be formatted in accounting style. Cents should not be displayed unless the value of data shown is under $1,000. So that's one just to note, and I'm going to highlight that one in my document. If it's over $1,000, you get rid of any cents. Okay. Subtotals and totals should include dollar signs. We don't have to worry about that one. And totals must have a double bottom border. We're not doing any totals, so we don't have to worry about those. So that's all we had to change. That's all we had to change for that one. It's just changing it to the right and putting in the dollar sign and remembering that we get rid of the cents if it's over $1,000. So with all of the table formatting complete, we can put in some headings. So knowing that this one is for our basic computer chair. We also need to do a table for our adjustable height desk. So I'm now going to copy my table, paste it below. Now I have two comparison tables ready for the information to be inserted. The last thing I'll change and edit is this website column. So this column here for the website. Now, regardless of the website that you go to, most URLs, most web addresses are quite long. So if I've got an example here, okay, it's actually quite a short URL, but if I take this and copy and try to paste it into this section here, notice how it changes and it increases. It requires a considerable size column to put this URL in. Not to mention, if I then try and squeeze this smaller, increases the size of this, and it just looks really, really, really ugly. Just going to undo all of that. To minimize the effect of inserting the very long URL website, the website address, I'm going to create a hyperlink. You can hyperlink any piece of text. I'm going to just use the words click here because it looks nice, and then people can, if they're reading the document, can click there and the website will open. But I'm going to create a hyperlink to this website. To do that, you select the text that you want to hyperlink, so the words click here. I'm going to right click and then select hyperlink. Once I select hyperlink, the insert hyperlink formatting window will come up. You can hyperlink to more than just websites. You can hyperlink to documents. You can hyperlink to places within a document. You can hyperlink to create a new document, and you can hyperlink an email address so that instantly an email will pop up, or that you will be asked to create an email. So there's lots of different ways to hyperlink. We'll just start with the most basic one, which is hyperlinking to a website. So you select the existing file or web page. That's what we're going to link to. And then in the address bar, we simply paste our URL. We paste our URL. And press OK. Once we've created the hyperlink, you'll see that it turns blue and it goes underlined. That shows that it is a hyperlink. And then if you hover over top of the hyperlink, it'll say control click to follow link. So control, and if I click that link, just give it a moment, yep, you'll see that that web page for that desk now appears. You can hyperlink anything. You don't have to put a click here. It doesn't have to say click here. You can hyperlink any piece of text. You just have to highlight it and press hyperlink. Okay, so I can hyperlink the word test as well. But of course that doesn't have the same ring to it and doesn't look as nice. Once you've finished filling out the tables of comparison, so actually adding information into these sections, you'll be ready to write your final recommendation. This final recommendation is you justifying which website / items to purchase. Okay. This is you justifying this. You cannot write in first person or second person. It must be in third person. So it is not your personal opinion. You do not start your final recommendation with "I think," all right, or "in my opinion." Okay, we do not start our recommendation like that. Your recommendation is not based on what you think. It's based upon the report. So you must refer to the report and your tables of comparison to make your recommendation, not your own personal opinion. So and in the example copy that's provided to you on Blackboard, it starts off with, based on, and I do not mind if you use this, based on the comparison and table above, it is recommended that Australian hardware purchase from, and then you say who you recommend. Right? It is recommended that Australian hardware purchase from IKEA furniture. This is based on the following reasons. And then you can list. Number 1, IKEA makes excellent products, or whatever, or IKEA is the cheapest. Alright, number 3, you need to give at least 3 reasons for why you would recommend that product. Notice there too that I've created a list and it's changed the colour of the text, so just make sure we change it back to black. Alright, so based on your table of comparison, that's what you're doing. You're going to say that is why. This is why I selected IKEA, or whichever website you select, okay, is based upon the table of comparison, not your own personal opinion. Right?